Fixez.com bringing you another repair video today. Looks like we're going to be working on an HTC One. In today's video, we're going to show you the steps necessary to remove and replace the HTC One's display assembly. Before we get started with our disassemble, let's review our suggested tools. Plastic triangle opening tools. Small Phillips screwdriver. Plastic opening tools. A spudger. Fine-tipped curved tweezers. Precision knife set. A heat gun or a blow dryer. Taking a look at our HTC One, you're going to notice we have a hairline crack that runs the length of our display assembly. Let's first get started here with our heat gun or a blow dryer and apply approximately about 1 to 2 minutes of heat, trying to soften up our adhesive that's securing our display assembly in place. We can also take a SIM card removal tool or a paper clip and remove the SIM card tray out of the side of the phone. You'll notice the seams on our HTC One are very tight. We used our precision knife kit here with the squared end tip to begin our separation at the top of the display assembly. Once we get inside that groove and lift the display assembly slightly, we can either use a plastic opening tool or, in our case, a spudger to keep that gap open to not allow the adhesive to come back in contact with itself. As you work yourself around the entire perimeter of the display assembly and separate it completely from the framework. Now, because our original display assembly is cracked and we're no longer going to use it, we can utilize a razor blade or, in our case, our precision knife kit to go ahead and cut the ribbon cables for the display assembly to get it out the way and make maneuvering the framework away from the base of the phone a little bit easier. From this point, we're going to need to take a look at our replacement part. You're going to notice that our replacement part from Fixez.com has the entire framework as well as the display assembly as one whole piece. Going around your replacement part and noticing where the clips are located on the framework, as well as the area on the top portion of the frame where there's hooks, will kind of give you an indication on how you're going to enter into the HTC One, causing the least amount of damage. What we've done is taken our precision knife and then laid our replacement part over top of our HTC One and made marks on the original framework to indicate where the clips are going to come in contact with the body of the phone. Now, with our marks around the perimeter of the phone indicating where our clips are located, we can go ahead and begin our entry down near the dock port using, again, our precision knife. What you'll notice is that we begin our entry initially with our precision knife because of the tight gaps of the HTC One. Once our gaps are initiated, we then bring in a triangle opening tool to continue that gap and really push the clips away from its secured location. You'll notice here in our first corner that we have a decent gap started. Before we continue on, let's take into consideration that we are replacing the entire framework for the display assembly. So if we cause damage to the framework, that's not a problem, but let's try to cause as little damage to the actual phone's body as we possibly can. As you move on to the next clips in line, you're going to use a combination of your precision knife, a triangle opening tool, as well as the traditional plastic opening tools to assist you in releasing those clips. Remember, use a little bit of patience and a little bit of strength, but those clips will eventually release. Once we finally did release the first 2 clips on one side of our HTC, we went ahead over to the other side and see if we can work on the second corner now. Applying the same method, utilizing our precision knife first, and following up with the plastic opening tool to fully release the clip. Moving on to our second clip now. Here's our line that we scored earlier. Attack it first with the precision knife and our plastic opening tool to pop the clip out again. With about half of our clips released around the phone, we've actually just taken a grip of it and we were able to pop open the rest of our clips just utilizing our hands from this point. If your phone is not releasing, go ahead and continue with the same method using the precision knife as well as the plastic opening tool until the display assembly does come separated from the body of the phone. With the rear cover removed, let's be certain to keep track of our volume rocker on the side. And now we can inspect the body to see if we've caused any damage during the opening of our HTC One, which you'll notice here that we have not. Upon inspection of our display assembly, you will notice a little bit of damage. We did scratch it up a little bit and maybe pry it on it a little. But bringing in the replacement part, you're going to recognize that we're going to be replacing this whole portion. So that's not a problem at this point. You'll notice that our phone's internals are built up on the back of the display assembly. We're going to have to remove all the internal components and transplant them onto our replacement part. Let's first get started with our 10 Phillips screws. Let's be very careful with these and keep very good track of them. All of our screws have a specific location with different sizes and different threads. So when you're removing the screws, let's be sure to keep track of exactly where they go for our reassemble. Let's get started on removing some of our ribbon cables. Let's not forget, by looking at our replacement part, we'll notice the ones that are used for our display assembly, which we previously cut when we first opened up our unit. So we can go ahead and remove those first. Let's peel up some of this tape. You'll notice our ribbon cables here are slid into white housing locking sockets with a black flip tab. You can flip that tab up in a 90-degree angle and it'll release that ribbon wire for you. Our other connections are simple push plug connections that we can use our spudger to gently pry up on, and it should release it easily. Let's come over here to the other side of the motherboard and peel up this tape. You're going to notice two screws on either side of this connection securing it down. Let's go ahead and remove those screws. And use our spudger to get in under the connection and lift it to disconnect. We have another locking socket here for this ribbon cable. Again, let's lift up the black tab 90 degrees. Slide the ribbon cable out and let's go ahead and peel it back for removal. Keep track of this bracket here for the corner. Let's be certain of its location as well as how it came off so we know how to replace it during our reassemble. Peeling up our tape here is going to reveal two things. One, another locking socket where we can flip up now a white tab 90 degrees. Release this cable, and this cable is going to be one of the severed ones from our original display assembly. And you're going to see a second screw here on one of our connections that was secured with one of our screws we removed previously. With that screw removed, we can now bring in our spudger, get under it, and pry it up for removal. We have a series here of coaxial connections, 4 in total. We can use our spudger to get under and gently pry those up for removal. With all of our ribbon wires removed, our wafer plugs disconnected, and our coaxial plugs removed, we can now lift up the top portion of our motherboard, removing it from our HTC One. Let's use our spudger and get underneath that battery to pry it up from its housing in the center of the phone. There's quite a bit of adhesive, so a little bit of patience is necessary when we're peeling the battery out. Let's now bring our attention to the bottom of our HTC One. You'll notice we have a small connection here that's located on our dock port. This is the wire for our loudspeaker. Let's use the pointed side of our spudger to gently pry up on that connection to remove it. And then the flat side of our spudger to go ahead and peel the loudspeaker out of our phone. And since we've previously removed all of our screws for our dock port, it should be free for removal as well. We have a final Phillips screw here that needs to be removed. And a small locking socket here that we can release and remove the ribbon cable out of the side of our lower motherboard. Our spudger can get under this plastic protective cover and lift it from the motherboard. We can peel up the connection here for our power button and sensors. And we have a small clip here in the corner of the motherboard that we want to keep track of for our reassemble. We're going to peel up the lower motherboard all in one piece. Before doing so, let's make sure that we release the adhesive securing the volume buttons on the side of the phone. And with those volume buttons released, we can use our spudger, get under the motherboard, and bring it up entirely with all of its components intact. The rear-facing camera, our front-facing camera, as well as our vibration motor, all in one step. We can now remove the earpiece speaker that is very snug in its housing. And our last piece, which is going to be our power buttons and sensors here at the top of the phone, let's go ahead and remove those. With all of our components removed from our original housing, let's bring in now our replacement part and compare the two. You'll notice they're virtually identical, minus the two ribbon cables that are for our new display assembly on the front of our replacement part. We're going to transplant what we just took out of our original frame to our new framework with our reassembly. All of the parts and tools you've seen today in this video are available at www.Fixez.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.